don't suppose you're going to let us know your starting goaltender just yet?
Not yet. We'll wait.
And we noticed that Keener was down at the end. That I think generally is reserved for the starter. Should we read anything into that?
I don't think we should. We haven't made our decision, so neither should you. So we'll decide on make that announcement before the game one.
Kris, the loss to Vegas a couple of years ago, I know you weren't here, but the guys really took it hard because they believed that had they got past Vegas, they probably would have won this one. We get the sense in the room from some of those guys over there what it means to them to get another shot at it.
I wasn't here. I can't say exactly how the feeling was. Obviously, I'd have better context on a better read of what's going on right now. I just see a bunch of guys that are, as always, motivated, no matter who our opponent is. And I don't know, maybe there was some hatred, I don't know. But I think, my perspective, I would think that no matter who we were playing, our guys would be in this frame of mind as they are in right now.
You must feel a lot better about the look and feel of your team heading into round 2 than you did into round 1.
Well, I definitely do, and I think a lot of players are feeling a lot better about their games. When heading into the series against LA, I wasn't really sure what we were going to have, just with the guys coming back from injury, Kane, Klingberg, Frederick. Those are the guys that hadn't played in a significant amount of time or for the year. And then we had many other guys who were just coming back from the injury reserve. So just what our lines were going to be like, who was going to be playing well. Now we've got some idea of, and they're going to switch. There's going to be some change, and we're going to have to adjust, especially in Vegas. They've got last change, and not sure what they're going to do. But for me, knowing what I got from my team, I have a better understanding than I do 2 weeks ago.
Kris, do you think you could win 9-6 and 7-4 games against Vegas like you did against the Kings?
Very rarely, and if we were to play that series against LA again, probably not. You can get away with that once in a while, maybe won a series, but as always, the old saying is defense wins championships, and you have to be able to play good defensive hockey, keeping the puck out of the net, and that's a lot of things. That's not turning the pucks over. That's playing good coverage. Not taking penalties, and when you do take penalties, it kills there. So ultimately, good defensive hockey is keeping the puck out of your nets, and we have to do a better job at that collectively.
Do you anticipate a pretty big stylistic change between the two series, the Kings one and this one?
Well, just the way their team's made up, the players that they have, and they've got rely on 4 lines quite heavily. Their defense are big and strong, and their systems are. We went from Vegas has their style of defense that they play, and LA was a man-on-man, and their neutral zone completely different. And so system-wise, yes. Personnel, yeah. So it's going to be a much different series.
Kris, the last couple of playoff series, going back to the Cup final and this first round, you guys have had slower starts. You're having trouble maybe getting going early on in the series. Is there something to be figured out there? Is it a personality trait? How do you think you find a better result there?
I think 5-on-5. So much gets evaluated on how the game goes, win and loss, and 5-on-5. I'm not necessarily. I don't know if we were much better later in the series. Definitely, we take game 5 out. That was our best, and there's few things to be negative about on that performance. But game 6 was probably our most porous defensive effort than it was all series. Now, early in the series, we were just giving up penalty kill goals. And then we were able to limit that number of penalties we were taking, the goals that were going in while shorthanded. So it looks like we were better defensively, where I'm not sure we were much better, about the same. I don't know. I look at, there's certain series, going back to last year, I thought we came out very strong in the first series against, or in the series against Dallas. I know there was a split down there, but I thought those were maybe two of our best games of that series. I don't know. Sometimes it just works out that you win, you lose, but you always want to get the upper hand and win as many games early and score that first goal. So, yeah, starts are important.
I think it was Jack made the point the other day that there's some agitation on all four lines. All four lines have a guy that's not afraid to just, play the game with a certain way. Do you like having that spread out across the line?
If there's chemistry within that line, I don't necessarily think it's important to have it on each line. I think it's a great benefit. I think it's something it's nice to have, but I think with the three guys working well together is the most important thing, and just having an agitator, that's part of the game. But I think there's so many other things, like somebody going to the net. Is there somebody going to the net on each line? Is there some speed? I think those are characteristics that are probably more important, but it is a element that is nice to have.
You've been using McDavid and Hyman late on penalty kills. I asked about McDavid before, but why Hyman? And how does that kind of affect what you want to do after a successful kill, because those two guys might not be available for you?
Yeah, that changes it, obviously. I think the most important thing when assembling who's going to kill penalty is who is going to kill the penalty. And then after that, if penalty is killed, it's a benefit to have that next line up, to load it up, whether it's McDavid and Draisaitl and whoever. But right now, I think it's most important for us to have the personnel, who's going to work well together. And McDavid and Hyman, we feel, are a good pair together, and they have been out there for some of the kills.
Hyman hadn't killed penalties in a couple of years here. I know he had in the past, obviously, Toronto.
He was so good at it that he knew he'd pick up right where he left off. And I'm not sure, I'm maybe embarrassing Zach here a little bit, but his first penalty kill, he was out on the ice for probably a total of 4 seconds, and he bit it. He fell over center ice. But joking aside, he can handle it. Makes good reads. He's been doing a lot of penalty kill in the past. Not only penalty kill, but this system. So we have a lot of confidence that he can do it.